Hey everybody, George from Zenhub here, and I'm going to take you through the latest updates around our new timeline view, and then cover sub-issues, issue types, issue levels, the goals and planning panel, our approach to breaking work down, and obviously, since it's an AMA, answer anything that you ask. So let's get started. Before I kind of start on the timeline, I just want to take you through our approach to hierarchy using sub-issues. So with GitHub out of the box, um, there are no rules, there's no structure. Any kind of issue can be the parent of any other kind of issue. And what we found in working with some very early participants in the sub-issues beta was that without any organizational structure, it became unmanageable very quickly as people started to not just be misaligned with other team members or other teams, but often with themselves. On any given day, an engineer coming in, might start at the top at a feature or at a task, or have a bug as a parent of a task, or anything like that. We started seeing it. So as we started implementing support for sub-issues and issue types, we added this new capability called levels, right? So this is how you define your hierarchy, right? So for us, which is what you're looking at right here, you're looking at Zenhub's own settings for our issue levels. Um, at the very top, the long-term bodies of work that we are doing, those are initiatives. So initiatives, high level goal, it's aligned with our strategy. It's probably going to span multiple projects, multiple teams, and be worked on over a long period of time. Um, Under an initiative, we're going to break that down into a number of projects. So these are going to have distinct timelines, deliverables. We're going to have clearly defined objectives for what we are trying to get out of these projects. And again, probably going to span teams, right? And when I say teams, it's a word that means different things to different people. I'm talking about like the small 4 to 5 person team when I say span teams. Depending on how your organization is laid out, you may be, a small startup with one team. You may be a growing, medium-sized business with, 100 engineers spread across 15 teams. You may be at a large enterprise with hundreds of thousands of employees and multiple business units all working on different initiatives. So with this level system, right, your initiatives flow down into your projects. Your projects, you're going to break down into epics. Epics are you're going to break down into the day-to-day issues, the things that your team is going to be working on throughout a week or a sprint. And those are going to be your like bugs, features, enhancements, tasks, like the stuff that like a team member will take on and work on and probably get a bunch of these done during a 2 week period of time, during a typical sprint length. And then, depending on how you break work down, you may want a next level down, the ability to break those features or enhancements down into subtasks. So why would you use a subtask? So for example, if we're going to implement uh, a new feature on our timeline view, there's probably front end work, there's probably back end work. We are probably going to want to assign the front end work to one engineer and the back end work to another engineer. It's a perfect use case for subtasks, right? So anytime that you would find yourself with a list of tasks that you need to get done that you're going to get done quickly, a subtask task is a perfect option for that because it gives the ability to assign it to an individual and gets very clear granularity on progress, right? So you can see those subtasks flying across your board. Your level 4 issues or your bugs, enhancement tasks, you'll see them moving across your board. Now, the level 1, 2, and 3 issues, they're going to live in the new goals and planning panel. So let's just jump into the product here. And all right. So here I am in Zenhub, and as you can see on the screen, I've got the sidebar here and then the goals and planning panel. Now, a quick tip, if oh, I have to, oh, Zoom is hovering over the thing. Oh, that's so annoying. Can I move that? All right, there we go. Ah, Zoom is getting in my way. Hold on a second. Can I drag this? Oh, there we go. Nope. All right. Well, anyway, you can collapse the sidebar. Zoom is literally preventing me from doing it here. Maybe if I do this. Nope, it's gonna just keep. Wow, that's annoying. All right. Sorry about this on for anybody watching the recording. Um, so the goals and planning panel slides out to the left of your board, and this shows you a top-down look at your high-level initiatives, projects, epics, right? Those level one, two, and three issues. So I can drill down and I can see that, this initiative has a number of projects underneath it. I can click down and see from here the epics that are underneath that. And then if I want to find out what's going on with this one here, I can click to slide it open. I can see a start and an end date, and I can see all of the work that rolls up into this. I can also filter the board to see all of the remaining work and all of the work that's closed. So the goals and planning panel makes it so fast to be able to navigate from your highest level initiatives down to your projects and epics. And because we are using issues in GitHub repos here, means that it can be incredibly easy for you to set up a globally shared repository so that your high level objectives are seen by everybody across your company. And then you just add them as an issue source, right? If you want to have private epics, for example, that you don't want other people to see, great. Put them in a repository that's private for you and your team, and then you can still add those to a global parent, and Zenhub will just do the right thing. In the company-wide view, you'll only ever see work that you have access to. Okay, so big, big improvement there for anyone that has had the old style Zenhub epics, more hierarchy, additional sharing options, at a glance understanding of progress, and all of this powers the new timeline view. So if here I am on the timeline, I'll expand that out here. Now you say, well, I don't see anything. Let's start using some keystrokes. So a couple that you'll probably start using right away. The letter T brings you to today. And then we've got different zoom levels of the timeline. So W for weeks, M for months, and Q for quarters. So W, M, Q, W, M, Q. And it is so fast. Let's go back to weeks. So from here, we can do exactly the same thing that we did when we were looking at the board. So I can expand this out and I can see um, uh, I can see in here the projects, and then I can drill down from here further, and I can see the epics. Now, out of the box, right, we've set up Zenhub so that your level one, two, and three issues live in the goals and planning panel. But that doesn't mean you can only have three levels of hierarchy here, because you can decide that, this one epic is the parent of additional epics. So you can add additional levels of hierarchy up to a total of 8 levels. Okay, so that's from your highest level objectives down to your subtasks, 8 levels of work. Now you could represent, 6 or so on the timeline here if you wanted to, by using this kind of like stacking approach. But just keep in mind, 8 levels in total, and that is going to include the day-to-day issues on your board, your tasks and subtasks. A question that just came in: are you able to create subtasks, like a task under an epic, for a different repo than where the global repo is, while creating those tasks directly in an epic? Okay, great question. And so what you're asking about here is in the sub-issue lister here, we have the ability to quick create. So our quick create here is a lot faster than GitHub's, especially when you're working with issues in multiple repositories. So as of Thursday, March 13th, I had to look at the date. You can, through this quick create and quick add field, you can add existing issues from other repositories like that. All you have to do is just type and search, and you'll be able to pull in any of the issues that are in repositories that are in your workspace. So a team workspace can have multiple GitHub repositories included in it. And so if you think about the flow that you have in GitHub with the basic implementation they have, you have to click once to create a sub issue, a second time to add an existing, a third to then select a different repo, a fourth to go out to the list of repos, a fifth to jump in, and then you start typing. So this is a heck of a lot faster for adding existing issues. Now, again, on Thursday, March 13th, we don't have in this list here of the ability to pick issue type, labels, and assignees. We don't have a repo selector here today. So that will be coming, but it's not in here today. It's on our list, and we're trying to get through the timeline, and then we're going to go back and add feedback that we've gotten from you all. So coming soon, not today, but you can do the opposite really quickly in that if you are in a sub issue, or if you're in that like private repository and you want to add a newly created issue to as a sub issue of an existing parent, you could just come over to the parent selector and then search for issues, and it will search across all of the repositories. So you can quickly create new issues and then attach them to one of those globally shared parents today, and you can quickly add existing issues um, from another repository to an epic or a project or initiative. But today, on the 13th of March, we don't have that repo selector in. It's on our list, and we'll get there. Okay, so back over to the timeline. So a couple things that we have shipped recently. So first, we have the key dates. So if I click in here, I can hover over any of these and add a key date. So I could say that like on March, let's say 17th, we're going to have a blog post about the launch, right? And so I can click there. And what that will do is add a key date to that issue, and then that will show up on the timeline when you turn that on or off. Next, we have dependencies that we've just added. So dependencies look like the little lines that show you that this issue is blocking another issue, or this issue is blocked by an issue. We've got sprints, so you can come up here and see where your sprints are, what the schedule is, and next, predicted end dates. Okay, so predicted end dates use the rate and pace that the work inside of an epic or a project or initiative is being closed at, and then predicts how far out in the future you may actually get all that stuff done if the rate and pace continues um, as is. So obviously, if you make some changes across the team, right? If you say like, okay, it looks like we wanted this to be done by, you know, in a couple of days, but it's not actually going to be done until March 28th, just based on how much work remains. You can now use this to say, okay, is March 28th okay? If it is, then you can come in here and you can now drag out that timeline to set a new date. Now, if I drag it back, that predicted end date will show up. You can also use this as a conversation to reduce scope, right? So you could say, you know what, we don't need all of these things in here, so we can pull some of these issues, these sub issues out, and then that will change the predicted end date. Or you can do a bit of both. You can remove some scope and you can adjust the date slightly, right, to get something back on track. So the predicted end date, again, it's using the rate and pace that the work within this epic or project or initiative that it's being closed at, and uses that to tell you when this might get done. Okay, next we have the ability to switch percentage of issues completed, number of issues completed, percentage of story points completed, or number of story points completed, right? So why is that helpful? Well, not all issues are created equally. Some issues may be easy, some issues may be hard. Points or story points are a way for you and your team to say, this issue is easy or this issue is hard. The lower the point value, the easier the work is. The higher the point value, the harder the work is. You can sub out complexity, for hard, right? So if something is really complex, higher point value. So being able to switch between the number of issues completed or the percentage of issues completed and the percentage of points completed allows you to understand whether or not you've got a lot of hard work remaining or a lot of easy work remaining or kind of a mix, right? So when you do this, when you switch this, depending on how much remains, you may see a change in the predicted end date, right? Or you may not, right? It all depends on the number of points that remain. Also, you can hover over any one of these little progress bars to see a breakdown of the number of issues and the number of points that remain. So, quick way to understand what's going on, and it's really responsive. And then lastly, if I come in here, there's a red, yellow, green project status, and it does exactly that. So if the work is really behind, it'll be colored red. If the work is kind of behind, it will be colored yellow. And if it is on track, it will be green, right? So green is on track, yellow is slightly behind, red is at risk or blocked. And let's just play this out a little bit. If I move it closer to the line, we should see it switch to red, yellow, or green. And I think I got a little display glitch here. We are in early access still on the timeline. So right now, occasionally you may need a refresh on the colors. We just introduced the colors this week, so they'll firm up over the next few days. Some of the other things that we added this week, the ability to not just drag and start an end date, but to drag to move things around, right? So like it now is almost feature complete compared with the original roadmap that we had, plus with additional levels of hierarchy. And The main thing that's coming next is the ability to export from here. So you'll be able to export to CSV, and it will show you exactly what you have selected in the goals and planning panel. So if you collapse everything, you'll get an export of just your top level items. If you start expanding and say, like, I want to expand all of my projects and epics, you will now get an export that includes all of those options. Additionally, the image export will be coming as well. And that gives you a kind of a PowerPoint or Google Slide friendly export that you can drop in for a project review or a status update for a leadership team or anything like that. Okay, so what does the timeline on everything look like? Number one, the export stuff is almost done. I think it should be hitting early access participants next week. And then we're going to work out a few bugs. Obviously, we saw a red, yellow, green display problem there. We'll get that fixed. And then we're going to move on to the start of enabling the timeline view for everybody. And then we're going to work on migration. So here's what's happening. So we introduced hierarchy into GitHub about 8, 9 years ago. GitHub was a flat place. All issues were peers to each other. We introduced two levels of hierarchy, the Zenhub epics and Zenhub projects. Projects in the old Zenhub projects were pretty much like a folder for epics, not much beyond that. Now with the new goals and planning panel and issue level approach, they're full issues with everything that you get. So we will be uh, releasing the timeline view for everybody. And then there's one more thing that we have to wrap up before we start migrating those old Zenhub projects and Zenhub epics to issue-based replacements. And that is, we'll be bringing sub-issues, issue types, issue levels, and everything that you've seen here to Zenhub issues. So if you are working in a no GitHub organization, you'll have all of these benefits of the advanced hierarchy for Zenhub issues as well. So those are also going to be used for the kind of top level, level 1 and level 2 issues for some organizations' migration. So depending on how your team is set up, if you are a GitHub only team, we're gonna migrate all your stuff to GitHub issues. If you are a mixed GitHub and Zenhub organization, so in other words, if you have team members that don't have GitHub access, we're going to do a blend of Zenhub issue-based projects and epics and GitHub issue-based ones. It depends on who created them, where they live, whether they're dev work or like design work, for example. So we're cranking on this already, and those will get added to early access very soon. And then we're going to migrate those Zenhub projects to level 2 issues of type project, either a Zenhub or GitHub issue, depending on how your org works. And then Zenhub epics to level 3 issues of type epic. And then you'll be moved over to this new sub-issue based world with all of the benefits that we gain from it. The additional levels of hierarchy, the great sub-issue lister and quick create options. And with that, let's go back to the timeline and Jason, let's grab some questions. Jason, everybody, is part of our marketing team. Thank you for joining me today. Okay. All right. So I have so there's a mix. So if you could use the Q&A, I've gotten some DMs here. So I'll answer the DMs while the Q&A, while people add stuff to the Q&A. Number one, when would we suggest using epics versus issues and subtasks? And it all comes down to the following. If the work is moving along in that it kind of gets an engineer or a team member picks it up and starts working on it and gets closed within a few days, you're going to want those to be kind of a level 4, your day-to-day issue, task, feature, bug, enhancement kind of issues. If work is taking multiple weeks, maybe, multiple sprints, 6 weeks or so, then you're going to want to use a higher level, maybe an epic, so that the work that it gets broken down to gives you that day-to-day granularity and visibility. Okay, next, as epics aren't linked to a workspace in Zenhub, how will the repository be selected for the migration? Okay, so Sean, I'm gonna make an assumption here. Over time, we've had multiple variants of epics. Our on-prem customers have one style, where our cloud customers have another, which complicates matters a little bit. But I think what you're talking about are the Zenhub epics that live in the sidebar, or there's an epics page over in the left side here. Those behind the scenes, the workspace that they were created in is actually captured. Even though they are shared across workspaces, the home workspace is captured. And then every workspace has the concept of a default repository. So what we will do during the migration is they will be created as issues in the default repository for the home workspace. Um, and hopefully that answers the question. We've already started reaching out to some people that we know have interesting patterns. Like for example, we were talking to one customer who they had 8 levels of old style Zenhub epics at one point. So we worked with them to make sure that they'd be fine. As we start going through the migration, like if we have questions, we'll reach out and ask. So just make sure you answer those questions we have from you. In the timeline view, can you see the task or subtask? Okay, um, so as I mentioned, by default, we're showing level 1, 2, and 3 uh, um, issues on the timeline. There is a setting that you can go in and set to have level 4 issues um, show on the goals and planning panel. Okay, so you can set it so that level 4 issues can show on the goals and planning panel. And that will then translate to the timeline. So anything that's in the goals and planning panel will show up on the timeline view. How is the timeline view different from the roadmap view? So first, it's kind of like the next generation of the roadmap. Um, and we've kind of like over time, in talking with customers, realized that people are using this timeline view for a lot more than just like a product roadmap. So hence the name change because it serves multiple purposes. So hopefully that answers the question. It is the next generation of what we started with the roadmap. And once the timeline view is out and we do that migration, the roadmap, the old style roadmap will go away. Next question. Is there a view where you can see both epics, ones that live in Zenhub, and ones that are created against specific repos? Okay. So yes, if you today, if you're in the early access program, it's a little awkward, but you can actually flip out and I'm on our test environment here. So we've got a bunch of uh, like test data here. But if you go under the view options, if you have this epic list on board, you can slide this out. It's a little awkward, to be honest, right now. This is a temporary thing. All of these epics will move over to issue-based replacement. So anything that you see that lives in the epics view will smartly move into the goals and planning view, and then that slide out view will go away. And at present, epics view only shows epics created in Zenhub. Again, we are going all in on support for issue-based replacements for Zenhub projects and epics. So in a few weeks, we you should be seeing those Zenhub only epics going away. Um, if you are a GitHub only organization, everything that, all of your higher level bodies of work, those will become issues that you can see whether you're in Zenhub or GitHub. And if you are in a multidisciplinary, some people with GitHub access, some people without GitHub access, some of those higher level things will be Zenhub based issues, but you will be able to convert them to GitHub based issues if you want. All it takes is there's an option in a Zenhub issue in the triple dot menu to click on it and then convert to a GitHub issue. Then you can pick where it goes. So that will be an option for you as well um, if you want to uh, like move completely to GitHub issue based epics. Here's the thing to keep in mind. Uh, we are looking at who created them as well during the migration. So if the user that created them is a GitHub user, we're going to try and opt for the GitHub issue based approach. If the person that created them was a non-GitHub user and they own like just a Zenhub only user, we'll use the Zenhub based approach. So no matter what, you'll have options after the migration to tweak. So hopefully that answers that question. Jason, we're a little bit over, aren't we? Uh,
Yeah, just a
any
couple
other
minutes.
burning questions? And then I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Hopefully, anonymous attendee that answered your question. Okay. All right. I need your help. So, if you've been part of the early access program, you got an email from me earlier in the week asking for some testimonials, for some quotes. Uh, uh, if you are finding that the work that we're doing with sub issues, issue types, issue level hierarchy, the goals and planning panel, the ability to like do things that GitHub can't do, like bulk edit and then setting parents like all at once, or setting issue types all at once. If this is helping you, if this is changing the way that you work, um, give us a quote. Uh, Go back to that email I sent earlier in the week and click the link. You can give us as much or as little as you'd like, and then we'll put your logo and everything in our marketing material, and we send things out to uh, some of the largest companies in the world. So Pam, thank you so much. Awesome. So look, uh, we have loved running this early access program. We're going to keep running it even as we get beyond kind of the initial scope of what we're doing with the sub-issue project. So you're going to get to see some really cool things coming over the coming weeks and months ahead, including a brand new issue hierarchy-based table view, which is going to be great. So a couple of things to wrap up here. We'll be posting a recording of this or sending a recording of this. Um, I will be sending out the next sub-issue, like early access email next week. And I need that feedback. So keep bringing it to us, and we'll keep adding the things that are helping you out every single day. Thank you for joining today and for the questions that you sent in. And I'll see you all in the next video and then on the next AMA, which we'll be holding soon. Also, Jason, we have the Zenhub Live events coming up, right? When's the
Yes,
next
yes,
one?
we have one next Thursday at the same time. And I
Okay.
believe the next one is on, let me just double check. I believe it's on Sprint Retros, I believe. Yes.
Sprint
We
Retros.
should have, oh, sorry, no, Sprint Retros is 2 away. We have creating consistent practices next week. So
Okay.
on March 20th at the same time, and
Okay.
those are held by Sai, our
Yep.
customer
Sounds great.
yeah, solutions
Solutions engineer.
engineer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Everybody, happy Thursday. Thank you so much. We'll get the recording out to everybody and then share this with your teams. Because, throughout the early access period, all of the feedback that you and your teams have been sending us have helped us shape where we're going. And we love it. We love bringing things to you that help you bring value to your customers faster, right? Because some of you are literally changing the world. So thank you again. Have a great rest of your day. Forward this video along to anybody in your organization and keep those questions coming, and we'll keep holding AMAs. See ya, everyone.